Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
Right now at 8, we are tracking two major crashes that have created quite a messy morning commute. One involving a FedEx truck, closed parts of I-85 in Orange County for 6 hours this morning. Another where a tractor trailer carrying steak sauce spilled all over the highway.
And new this morning, another heat advisory in effect from 11 a.m. until 8 p.m. I'll show you when we're done with these alerts and when rain returns to the forecast.
And today we'll hear from former President Donald Trump's running mate at the RNC, what DJ Vance is expected to focus on as he joins the campaign trail. We have that big story as well as others to get your Wednesday started here on Fox 50. Thanks for joining us. I'm Michelle McConaughey.
And I'm Jeff Hogan. Thanks for making us part of your Wednesday here as we get rolling. Another hot day, but at least we can see the end is near for where the changes will come. Chris Michaels is in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. Right now, these recent heat alerts, they're stacking up, but they might be over.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, that light at the end of the tunnel is getting bigger and bigger, means it's getting closer for us. So looking forward to that. But yeah, these heat alerts have really stacked up over the past 4 weeks or so. We've seen 12 heat alerts in the past 4 days. We've shown those to you. So just something to keep in mind as you're going out for the dog walking forecast. We start out temperatures in the 80s. They climb well into the 90s here over the course of the afternoon. Notice our storm chances are pretty low up until about 3 or 4 p.m. And as we've mentioned over the past few weeks, if you're caught in direct sunlight, that blacktop can get up to about 145, 150 degrees. So you'll want to keep the pet's paws off the pavement and maybe try to avoid wearing darker clothing. But again, at least some relief in sight comes in the form of some storms late afternoon into the evening. That level 1 risk for isolated severe weather, mostly near and to the north of areas like Wake County. So this is a pattern flip that we're tracking. Not all day rains, mostly afternoon and evening, but we are so loaded with moisture right now that we'll keep tabs on localized flooding later this week. Ken?
Chris, happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center, you can see things have really picked up, particularly around the Beltline and the north side of the Beltline as well as the south side of the Beltline. Also, I-540 this morning, some brake tapping going on. We've been following some breaking news all morning long. This crash on I-440 eastbound near Wade Avenue, you can see the major delays it's causing on Wade Avenue. I would recommend Hillsborough or Western Boulevard as alternate routes to get onto I-440 eastbound. WRAL's Laura Levine has been on this scene all morning long, tracking exactly what's going on. Laura, set the scene for us and recap for our viewers what happened.
Well, listen, Ken, more than 6 hours later, and crews finally got this tow truck sitting upright. Take a look behind me now. Crews have it attached to this wrecker. And now that we have it upright, mind you, this has been flipped over since earlier this morning, since 2 a.m. We're able to see now some of the significant damage that this tractor trailer has. You can see the glass shattered. We can also see the side of it just ripped open. My photographer, Charles Bradley, described it almost like a can opener. It's just significant damage that we're looking at. We know that the driver of this tractor trailer is okay, which is good news in this situation. But listen, crews got this call just before 2 o'clock this morning about the accident. When they came and responded, they saw that steak sauce had spilled all over the road. That's what this tractor trailer was carrying. I don't know if we have video up, but if we could take our live picture once again now, take a look. You can see that they are getting ready to leave. You can see the wrecker pulling. Oh my goodness, look at the damage here. Pulling the tractor trailer from the scene. This tractor trailer was carrying more than 38,000 pounds of product, including steak sauce, teriyaki sauce. We're hearing now some crews past the scene here. Again, the scene is in the clearing stages, which is good news after crews have been here again since 2 o'clock this morning. Laura Levine, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
And more breaking news in Orange County. I-85 is back open after a crash involving a FedEx truck closed part of it for hours. It happened near the US 70 exit in Hillsborough. Nick Perlin was there on the WRAL breaking news tracker as crews worked for nearly 6 hours.
This stretch of I-85 northbound was closed for roughly 6 hours as crews worked to remove a tractor trailer that crashed early this morning. Now take a look at this video from the WRAL breaking news tracker, and you can see this FedEx tractor trailer toppled over into the median, and part of it even extending into the southbound lanes. We're told this happened at around 1:40 this morning. We know 2 cars were involved, obviously this tractor trailer and one other car. This crash caused major major delays during the early morning commute. That tractor trailer was removed at around 7 this morning, and as you can see, traffic is now moving smoothly along the I-85 northbound lanes, but we're still trying to learn from State Highway Patrol if anybody was hurt in this crash. In Orange County, Nick Perlin, WRAL News.
Some people living near Dixie Trail finally have their power back on after spending the night without air conditioning. That's because of a large tree that fell and knocked out power right there, as you see, for hours. Happened just before 11 o'clock last night. This is in Raleigh. The tree was blocking the road for a while before crews removed it.
School leaders in Wake County picked Shaw University to be the new partner for the school system's leadership academies. The school board still needs state approval to make that official. The Wake Young Men's and Young Women's Leadership Academies don't have a permanent partner right now after a fallout with St. Augustine's University over its accreditation. The board's vote starts the process to fix that starting in the next school year. Students will attend leadership programs at Wake Tech until then.
Former President Donald Trump's pick for vice president will speak tonight at the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee. J.D. Vance appeared alongside Trump once again last night at the convention. Tonight, Vance is expected to formally accept his nomination. In his speech, we expect him to focus heavily on his personal life story. He is also going to be joining Trump on the campaign trail for the first time at an event Saturday in Michigan.
Two of former President Trump's fiercest competitors during the primary season are showing their support of his nomination. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis quickly came back into Trump's fold after suspending his campaign. Former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley held out until much more recently. She accepted a last-minute invitation from the RNC to speak at the convention. The party hopes her endorsement of Trump brings in her more moderate supporters.
President Trump asked me to speak to this convention in the name of unity. You don't have to agree with Trump 100% of the time to vote for him.
The second day of the convention focused on rising crime in America. Many of the speakers focused on immigration and border security. Former President Trump will speak tomorrow after he officially accepts the nomination.
We are working to learn the name of a person who died in a motorcycle crash in Raleigh. This happened just before 7 last night. Both sides of Wade Avenue and Glenwood Avenue were closed as police investigated. This is video from the WRAL breaking news tracker. Police tell us that crash involved 2 vehicles and a motorcycle, and we're making calls to learn more about what happened there.
Covering Wake County, students in Wake County schools say they need to have their phones in school as a group is pushing for a ban on them. People who want phones banned in the classrooms addressed the Wake County Board of Education last night. They say that phone usage in schools has led to distractions, lower grades, and poor mental health among students. A student who spoke with WRAL says phones should be considered more of an asset than a distraction.
Taking away students' resources for potential learning is very harmful to students. And while you could argue in some perspectives that it can be a detriment or a distraction to students, I would counter that in a way that the more resources students have to better their education, the more they can grow.
The Board of Education did not comment publicly on the proposal. The parent who is leading the push says that she hopes the board will soon vote on it.
The American League is back on top after the Midsummer Classic. This 2-run homer here by Jarren Duran of the Boston Red Sox put the AL up for good last night in the Major League Baseball All-Star Game. The American League beat the National League 5-3. Duran was named the game's MVP. This is the 10th win in the last 11 All-Star games for the AL. The NL's lone win in that stretch came in last year's game.
Coming up, we're getting new information about the attempted assassination of former President Trump. How officials say the gunman was able to get past security.
Also, Paris's mayor proved she believes the River Seine is clean enough to swim in by taking a plunge herself. The latest efforts to make sure that river is Olympics ready.
I think a lot of folks wanting to go out to swim today. Another day of intense heat, but finally a break on the horizon. It also involves some storms. I'm going to time those out and show you where they're most likely today. Coming up.
12 minutes after 8 o'clock right now on a Wednesday morning. Blue skies over North Hills as you watch WRAL News, available on YouTube TV and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device. And yes, already the heat is on the rise. Chris Michaels is in the WRAL Severe Weather Center right now, but at least we're getting to see an end to this heat wave here.
Exactly, yeah. So we've just got to get through today and part of tomorrow before the heat really starts to temper its expectations a little bit. Right now it's 80, and Jeff just mentioned it's only 8:12, 8:13 this morning. Live look over Apex. Things are starting to get a little busy there in downtown. Temperatures, the heat index forecast to rise once again. We've got that heat advisory in effect. I'll show you that coming up in just a few seconds. But here's why. You notice heading into the afternoon, it's going to feel like 104 to 108, even heading into the evening, because storms take their sweet time developing. It's really going to be after 3 p.m. or so before we see those coming in. Left-hand side of your screen, that's the heat advisory for the fourth day in a row. Right-hand side is that level 1 severe risk. That means that threat for severe weather is more isolated than anything, mostly near into the north of Wake County. But that includes the chance for some localized flooding, localized wind damage, the chance for large hail or a tornado. That looks to be very low over the course of the next 2 days. And Futurecast is going to go through the next 2 days. We'll stop here at about 4 p.m. You see the scattered storms moving from west to east up until about 8:30, 9 o'clock. And at that point, most of those are going to be east of the triangle. We're quiet through the overnight hours, but that front that you see coming in from the north just kind of hangs out with us for tomorrow and really into the weekend. What this does is produces more numerous showers and storms once again tomorrow afternoon and evening. Tomorrow, by the way, we're under another level 1 threat for some severe thunderstorms, but after midnight or so, that chance will start to go down. Keep in mind, with how muggy it is, that's a sign of all the moisture in the atmosphere, so where it rains, it pours, especially on a day like tomorrow where you have a chance for some localized flooding. We'll keep that chance into the weekend as well. And the reason why is that the pattern's just not moving anywhere. You've got high pressure to the west, high pressure to the east, and they're acting like goaltenders. They're just keeping this blocked in, so we see that repetitive pattern of rain chances. It's not going to rain all day every day, but each afternoon is going to have that chance. But at least there's that light at the end of the tunnel, and you see that here with days of high temperatures in the 80s. We haven't had a stretch like that since late May, early June. Still going to be humid, but at least not 100 degrees. Ken?
Chris, we continue to follow that breaking news here in the capital city right now. This crash shutting down the on-ramp to I-440 eastbound. You can see the delays it's causing in that area right now on just about 8:25 or whatever time it is this morning, just a little after 8 o'clock, 8:15. It's still causing some delays this morning. I would really recommend using Hillsborough or Western Boulevard as an alternate route. Let me show you that scene, exactly what's going on out there right now. This is what it looks like. They just put this tractor trailer upright, and they're trying to put it on the tow truck and getting ready to haul it away. Again, that ramp, the on-ramp to I-440 eastbound is closed this morning as they try to get this out of here. It spilled several gallons and tons of teriyaki and steak sauce in that area. You can see traffic is still moving along on the Beltline right now, but just remember that on-ramp on I-440 is closed right now. Elsewhere around the Triangle and surrounding communities this morning, just a couple of incidents to make you aware of, just to keep you posted. A serious crash on Yonkers Road in the southbound lane. This is near Capitol Boulevard. You can see it's causing quite a bit of delay in that area. I would avoid this area at all costs if it's possible. Coming up in 10 minutes, I'll try to find an alternate route for you because we've been monitoring this for the longest while now. This is a minor crash on Globe Road in the westbound lane and Aviation Parkway, not causing any major problems in that area. Just look for some police activity. But look at this, the Beltline on the south side of the Beltline just causing some major congestion this morning. This is what it looks like on the north side of the Beltline, I-440 and Lake Boone Trail. If you're coming in from Johnston County, I would recommend heading in this direction. And the southbound side, here's I-40 and Lake Wheeler Road. This is probably adding about 3 to 5 minutes to your morning commute.
We have breaking news from Chapel Hill. Police just let us know that they are investigating a shooting that killed a man. This happened in the 100 block of Ashley Forest Road. That's in the north part of Chapel Hill. And they discovered that a man had been shot in that area around 1 o'clock this morning. The man was taken to UNC hospitals where he later died. Police tell us they believe this is an isolated incident. They are working to find the shooter, and they will release the victim's name once they notify family. We have a crew headed to the scene. As soon as we learn any new information on this Chapel Hill shooting, we'll let you know.
We're also learning more about what the gunman did the day he attempted to assassinate former President Donald Trump. Amy Kiley reports. Newly released details show how he got past security.
How does that happen?
New information shows how a gunman evaded security and shot former President Donald Trump Saturday. Law enforcement officials say he'd asked for the day off work. They say he came to the rally with a rangefinder.
It's a device that looks like a small pair of binoculars, but it's used by shooters to measure the distance when they're setting up a long-distance shot.
It's not a weapon, so security let him through.
But they did flag, what does he have this in his hand for?
Investigators say the would-be assassin then exited the secured area. They're not sure where he went, but they think he got a rifle from his car. Climbing on an air conditioning unit is likely how he got on a roof outside the perimeter. That's according to a senior federal law enforcement official.
He's taking the rangefinder and he's looking through it at the counter-sniper positions. And one of the counter-sniper positions is looking at him through the scope. At this point, there's not a gun in the picture, as I understand it, but they're saying he's looking at us, looking at him.
Another official says that's about when witnesses saw him and alerted police. Video analysis shows the shooting started about 2 minutes later.
I went there to have a nice time with my family, and then the unthinkable happened due to a complete breach and lapse of security.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
The Secret Service director says no agency assets were diverted from the rally that day. Several sources say the service had increased security due to a threat from Iran. The director also says before the shooting, agents had thought the secured area around the stage was large enough.
The opening of UNC's new surgical hospital is being delayed. The over $420 million hospital in Chapel Hill was supposed to open its doors to patients this month. Hospital officials say a recent burst pipe and significant water leak damaged the part of the building's backup electrical system. The facility is now expected to open in late August.
Thousands of people are still without power in Toronto after torrential rains caused widespread flooding there. Emergency services had to rescue people from stranded vehicles after a series of thunderstorms rolled through Tuesday. Nearly 4 inches of rain dumped in just a few hours. That is more than Toronto typically gets in an entire month.
It's been nearly a year since a U.S. soldier crossed the border from South into North Korea. And now lawyers representing Private Travis King say they are in plea negotiations with military prosecutors. King was set to face a preliminary hearing in Texas yesterday, but that hearing was delayed. The 24-year-old is facing 8 charges, including desertion, possession of child pornography, and assault. Before crossing into North Korea last year, King had been released from a South Korean detention center on assault charges. He was held for several weeks and then returned to U.S. custody last September.
It's day 2 of Amazon's Prime Day, and the big sales event is also a major cause of injuries for its workers. This is according to a report from a Senate committee. It found that the rate of injuries that required more than first aid was double the industry average during 2019's Prime Day. Including minor injuries in this report, it said there were nearly 45 injuries per 100 Amazon workers, nearly half. Amazon says it made substantial improvements to worker safety in recent years.
Today, Paris Mayor Anne Hidalgo took her first swim in the Seine River. She was joined by the Olympic president and Parisian city leaders to prove the water is clean enough to swim in. The Olympic triathlon and open water swimming events will be held in the Seine. The government has spent more than $1.5 billion cleaning up the river. It has been illegal to swim in the river for more than a century.
And just 9 days until the start of the 2024 Paris Olympics, teams are practicing hard as they prepare to take on the world. And that includes Team USA men's volleyball. 2 members are making their 4th Olympic appearances, and there are also a couple of 3-time Olympians on this year's squad, 9 total returning Olympians. The men's team won a bronze in Rio, but faltered in Tokyo. Coach John Spiro says he feels like they have an experienced team that's been together for years, and they have a good chance to finish well in the tournament.
We had a great run in Rio where we bronze medaled. We had high expectations going into Tokyo, didn't perform to the level that we were hoping. So now we're coming back with what I would consider this era of players that's been here for the last 12 years with a chance to finish on a much better note.
As for the players, they all believe the chemistry on this team is great. They're excited to represent Team USA. And WRAL is your exclusive Olympics home. You can watch the competitions, medal ceremonies, and live analysis all on WRAL. We'll have live reports from Paris in our 6 a.m., also 6 p.m. and 11 p.m. news.
Downtown Raleigh has some new prehistoric art installations. 3 topiary dinosaurs can be found around the city. Their names are Trish the Triceratops, Bex the T-Rex, and Terry the Pterodactyl. Trish is at the corner of Morgan and Fayetteville Street, Bex is at Moore Square, and Terry is at Exchange Plaza. It comes as the city celebrates the latest dueling dinosaurs exhibit that recently opened at the Museum of Natural Sciences.
Following 2 breaking news stories involving overturned tractor trailers in our area. We're back with that.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM. In Durham, 96.5 FM. And everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Time now is 8:26. I'm Michelle McConaughey. Ken Smith still tracking some big backups on 440, Ken.
Yeah, not a very happy morning commute, particularly for those people who use Wade Avenue to get onto the Beltline. This is a crash that's shutting down the on-ramp at I-440 eastbound. You can see the heavy delays it's causing in that area. Let's take you right to that scene and show you exactly what's going on this morning. Right now, they've righted that trail. It's a live look courtesy of photographer Charles Bradley and reporter Laura Levine have been on that scene all morning long. That tractor trail has now been moved to the shoulder, but you can see debris is all over that area. That I-440 ramp is still closed at this hour. I would recommend Hillsborough or even Western Boulevard as another opportunity to get onto those eastbound lanes of 440.
All right, Ken, thank you. Meanwhile, today, another heat alert in effect for the area as we see the heat index peaking between about 102 and 107. Very similar feel to what we've had over the past few days. Difference is we do expect more storms today than we saw yesterday, but even still, we're going to call that chance scattered. Some of those could be on the strong side, especially as you go near and north of Wake County. We're going to time things out for you coming up on Fox 50, plus show you some more of the relief in sight as we head into the weekend.
Thanks, Chris. 2 people were taken to the hospital after a crash involving a FedEx 18-wheeler and a car. The tractor trailer in Orange County creating overnight backups on I-85. This happened between Hillsborough and Durham near US 70 just before 2 o'clock this morning. Video shows the truck toppled over into the center median. The road reopened just before 7 o'clock. Coming up next on Fox 50, another tractor trailer topples over in Raleigh, spilling steak marinade on the highway. And up next on Today, Glenn Powell live in Studio 1A.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your #1 source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
Crews are making progress clearing the scene of what has been a messy situation on the Beltline. A tractor trailer flipping over and steak sauce spilling along the road.
And a FedEx truck flipped onto the median on I-85, creating backups in Orange County earlier this morning. The new information just into our newsroom about the drivers involved in this crash.
And our heat wave seems like Joe DiMaggio's historic hitting streak. It seems like it just will never end, but we do see an end in sight. I'll show you when, coming up.
Plus, Republicans are working to unite the party at the RNC. How former Trump competitors are now showing their support of his nomination. Rolls on after day 2. We have 2 more days left of that in Milwaukee. Yeah. Bring you inside the WRAL studio here on our Wednesday. I'm Jeff Hogan.
And Michelle McConaughey, thanks for joining us. Chris Michaels has our weather forecast. It almost seems unfair to show Carolina Beach, White Lake, Lake Gaston, because we want to be there.
Exactly. I think we need to sign a petition that we just do the newscast from out there on these hot days, right? Starting out with a live look at White Lake, you see some boats on the dock. I think some folks getting ready to head out and brave the heat out there on the lake. And there's plenty of it. Once again, a heat advisory in effect. This is for the 4th straight day where the heat index gets to about 104 to 108. Once we start to get into that territory, that's when things get potentially dangerous for those of us that are working outside for a long period of time. Even tomorrow, quite hot. The heat index getting close to triple digits, but by Friday, that's when we start to snap this streak a little bit. And a lot of that has to do with this front that's coming through tomorrow. And it really sets off a stormy pattern. And you notice how it kind of stalls out over North Carolina. So we do see the daily chance for showers and storms. That's going to be coming through late this week into the weekend. Something to keep in mind, I've got this graphic color-coded. The yellow means that you might want to have a plan B for your outdoor weekend plans, but coming up in just a little bit, I'm going to show you the plus side to this stormy pattern. Ken?
All right, looking forward to that, Chris. Happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. You can see traffic is building on all sides of the Beltline this morning, as well as I-540. A real trouble spot this morning has been a crash we've been following all morning long on I-440 eastbound. Right there at Wade Avenue, you can see the heavy delays it's causing in that area. Of course, I would always recommend you do Hillsborough or even Western Boulevard as another alternate route to get onto those I-440 eastbound lanes. Let's get out to WRAL's Laura Levine. She's been covering this story since we got right on the scene. And Laura, you're right on top of that tractor trailer that was involved in that crash.
Yeah, Ken, within the past 15 minutes, crews have been able to remove this tractor trailer from that crash site and now pull it over to the shoulder. And the reason why they cannot pull it any further is because you can see the damage, but a lot of debris still coming from the truck. We actually saw these bottles and jugs of just the marinade, the steak sauce that spilled on the highway, still falling from the truck as they were removing it from the scene. This was carrying more than 38,000 pounds of products. We're talking about, again, steak sauce, marinade sauce that just caused such a mess this morning. We know crews arrived on the scene just before 2 o'clock this morning. That's when they first got the call. They had to call DOT for backup to help them kind of bring those trucks in, spray water on the roads to clear some of that mess that we saw earlier. We know the on-ramp here on the inbound lanes remain closed at this time. RPD still blocking off that area because, look, I want to pan the camera this way if we can. You can see several trucks still on the scene. We have more wreckers and tow trucks here, but we also have some equipment. They're using some heavy equipment to continue to remove some of the dirt and debris that is still on this inner ramp here. So, of course, we're going to continue to track the progress here. But again, things are looking good so far. The good news in all of this, a lot of people have reached out and said, is the driver okay? Yes, we're told by the Raleigh Watch Commander that there were no injuries to report from this incident. We're still working to learn what may have caused that driver to veer off the road this morning. Laura Levine, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
Of course, again, that I-440 on-ramp to those eastbound lanes closed at this hour. Use Western Boulevard or Hillsborough as an alternate route. We showed you some of the backups that we've been seeing on the north side of the Beltline as well as the south side of the Beltline. This is our view from I-440 and Lake Boone Trail this morning. Traffic has just really picked up a bit, and it's usually part of the morning congestion. Maybe just adding a couple of minutes to your morning commute if you take that northern side of the Beltline. On the south side, though, this is I-40 and Lake Wheeler Road. Traffic in the westbound lanes coming toward us. That's adding about a 3 to 5 minute to your morning commute this morning. So keep that in mind if you're getting ready to head out.
Ken, we just got an update from Highway Patrol on this morning's I-85 crash involving a car and a FedEx tractor trailer. Both drivers had to be pulled from those vehicles and they were taken to the hospital with serious injuries. Let's get you to video from the WRAL breaking news tracker this morning. It all started on I-85 near the US 70 exit in Hillsborough around 1:30 this morning. The crash caused backup for hours. The investigation is ongoing as to what led to this. The crash was cleared by 7 a.m. and traffic is moving along on that stretch of I-85 again.
Thanks for that update, Renee. Back here in Raleigh, a dump truck hit right into a Burger King on Avon Ferry Road. You see from this picture here, the WRAL Breaking News Tracker, the building has minor damage right above the drive-through window there. No one was hurt. The restaurant will be open today.
Some people living near Dixie Trail finally have power back after spending a night without air conditioning. That's because a large tree fell and knocked out power for hours. It happened just before 11 o'clock last night. The tree was blocking the road for a while before crews finally removed it.
The search for UNC's next chancellor will move forward today. Search committee will meet in Chapel Hill this afternoon as UNC is looking for a permanent replacement for Kevin Guskowitz. He left for Michigan State in January. Lee Roberts is the interim chancellor. The Board of Governors and system president Peter Hans will make the final call. The committee's goal is to name the new chancellor by the end of the year.
Sources tell our NC Capitol team that a Japanese medical device company is moving into North Carolina. State commerce officials will hold a special meeting at 11 o'clock this morning. The NC Capitol team has learned the officials are expected to discuss economic incentives for the company called NIPRO. It's expected to announce a $400 million expansion that could bring in about 230 jobs to Pitt County. Governor Roy Cooper is scheduled to make an economic development announcement in Greenville later today.
Covering Wake County, school leaders picked Shaw University to be the new partner for the school system's leadership academies. The school board still needs state approval to make that all official. The Wake Young Men's and Young Women's Leadership Academies don't have a permanent partner right now after all the fallout with St. Augustine's University over its accreditation. The board's vote starts the process to fix that starting in the 2025-26 school year. Students will attend leadership programs at Wake Tech until then.
Today, year-round teachers in Durham Public Schools return to work. They'll gather at Northern High School today for a day-long kickoff to the school year. They'll hear from the new DPS Superintendent Nicholas King and participate in professional development sessions as well. Classes for year-round students start on Monday.
Tonight, Vice Presidential nominee J.D. Vance will address the Republican National Convention. Vance will formally accept his nomination as he speaks night 3 of the convention in Milwaukee. His speech is expected to focus heavily on his personal life story. It was first made famous in the 2016 memoir Hillbilly Elegy. Peter Navarro is also expected to speak at the convention this week after he is released from prison today. Navarro is a former aide to Donald Trump. He's been in prison since March for contempt of Congress after defying a subpoena to testify in front of the January 6th committee. It's not clear yet which day he's expected to speak.
Night 2 of the Republican National Convention saw former rivals of Donald Trump rallying behind him. The most anticipated speech of the night came from former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley. Haley gave the former president her strong endorsement while criticizing President Biden's policies on global affairs.
If we have 4 more years of Biden or a single day of Harris, our country will be badly worse off. For the sake of our nation, we have to go with Donald Trump.
Another former rival, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, also spoke, as well as one-time presidential hopeful Vivek Ramaswamy. Yesterday's focus was on crime in America, with many of the speakers focusing on immigration and border security. Trump will speak tomorrow after officially accepting his party's nomination.
You can find the full list of remaining events at the Republican National Convention by going to WRAL.com.
And President Joe Biden is back on the campaign trail. Biden spoke to open the NAACP National Convention in Las Vegas yesterday. Biden worked to shore up support among black voters. He also aggressively slammed former President Trump's policies. He promised voters he is, quote, all in to continue his campaign for re-election.
Police are working to find the person responsible for a stabbing in downtown Raleigh. This is video of that scene on East Davie Street from the WRAL Breaking News Tracker. Police say this happened around 6:30 last night. One person was stabbed and taken to the hospital. That person is expected to be okay. No arrests have been made as of this morning.
And Governor Roy Cooper will be in Wilmington today for an announcement about new funding for transportation infrastructure. Federal Highway Administrator Shaylin Batt will join him for that announcement. It's happening at 10:45 this morning.
Coming up, Wake County Schools adopted a new policy that black families and students have been asking for a while. The change that is designed to stop discrimination against hairstyles.
And the singer behind a widely ridiculed rendition of the national anthem explains her performance, why Ingrid Andress is apologizing to the MLB and her fans.
And we give you this live look in Clinton this morning. Yeah, sun is shining bright. Our weather pattern, though, pulling a 180 as meteorologist Chris Michaels tells us how much rain is expected, how much will cool off after it.
Welcome back. 8:44 as you look live over Southern Pines. A beautiful sky out there. Sunshine, couple clouds. If you're going to golf, do it now. And also bring some water with you. It's going to be really, really warm later today. Really hot, I should say. And some rain could be on the way. Meteorologist Chris Michael standing by with a gorgeous Weather Watchers photo.
Yeah, this is really one of the better ones we've gotten recently. Shout out to Tracy out of Princeton. These are called anti-crepuscular rays. So you've got the sun to your back and the sun's rays converge on the horizon. Really cool, unique shot there from Tracy. Again, if you want to be a weather watcher, easy, go to our website and we're happy to share your pictures. Here's the current picture in Durham, in Raleigh, and Fayetteville, and you see that mix of clouds and sun that you saw in Southern Pines. It's already 79 to 80 degrees. If you're going to do some yard work today, get that done early as well. It's already sticky out there. Temperatures this afternoon, they'll be similar to yesterday, mid to upper 90s. Storms today slightly more than yesterday, but they're going to happen later in the day. Let me show you why. So we've got a front off toward the west, and so it's really not triggering anything quite that widespread. Notice here's 4 p.m. Storms pretty scattered, especially toward the Piedmont, but starting to move in from west to east, especially north of Raleigh. You could see a couple stronger ones. Meanwhile, that front gets closer to us heading into Thursday, and it's the catalyst for more storms. Not to say that Thursday is going to be wet at all times, but after 1 p.m. or so, there you start to see a higher coverage, more amount of storms. And again, some of those could be on the strong side with how much moisture that we've really built up in the atmosphere. After 7 or 8 p.m., that chance is going to start to move farther to the east. This sets off a very wet weather pattern at times heading into the weekend and into early next week. Early indications over the next 7 days would be 2 to 4 inches of rain. Keep in mind, you could have some isolated totals just because some of those summer downpours have a lot of moisture with them. But here's some good news with that is that we're looking at least 4 days with highs below 90 degrees. Last time that happened was May 27th to June the 3rd. The past 4 days, we've had excessive heat warnings, heat advisories, everything like that. We're not necessarily looking at that, though, as we head late week into the weekend. Even tomorrow, we managed to hit 90 degrees. That's prior to some of the more numerous storms that move through. That's going to be a little earlier in the afternoon tomorrow. And by Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, you're looking at high temperatures 86 to 88. Each afternoon and evening has the chance for scattered to at times numerous showers and thunderstorms. Ken?
All right, Chris, we continue to follow the breaking news we've been following all morning long. This crash on I-440 eastbound at Wade Avenue. You can see the heavy delays it's causing in that area. It's been affecting your morning commute all morning long. And we've been recommending using Western Boulevard or even Hillsborough as another opportunity to get onto the eastbound lanes of I-440 East. We've got a live crew on the scene. We'll have an update for you at the top of the hour over on Fox 50, right here on Fox 50, I should say. Elsewhere around the triangle, we've been noticing some congestion building on the Beltline. This is a live look at the north side of the Beltline. This is I-440 and Lake Boone Trail. Traffic is really just picked up in those westbound lanes that's coming toward us. Over on the south side of the Beltline, things are really moving along nicely, even though traffic is picked up. This is typical this time of the morning. This is I-40 and Lake Wheeler Road. This is probably going to add about maybe a couple of minutes to your morning commute. So as you get ready to head out, just keep that in mind, especially if this is part of your commute.
With the summer heating up, a lot of towns are offering evening outdoor movies to help families beat the heat of the day. WRAL lifestyle editor Kathy Hanrahan is here with all of the details. Kathy, let's start with downtown Cary on Friday night. Hopefully the rain can hold off for this.
Fingers crossed. Okay, if you love dinosaurs, this is a great pick for the weekend. Okay, there is a free screening of the film Jurassic Park Friday night at downtown Cary Park. This is a 1993 classic film. You remember it. It started off the whole franchise. The fun starts at 6 p.m. with activities and games. Then the movie's going to start around dusk. There's going to be food trucks on site. Admission is free.
There are so many Jurassic Park films. The first one is it's classic. You can't go wrong. And then on Saturday, there's another free movie. Tell us about family movie night in Wake Forest.
Wake Forest always does it right. They've got great family movies. They're going to host a free screening of Kung Fu Panda 4 outside at Joyner Park. The event starts at 7:30 p.m. with a character meet and greet and some crafts for the kids to do. And then the movie's going to start about 8:30. Admission is free on this one, too.
Also Saturday, Carolina Theater hosting a free movie for families. Tell us about that one.
And this is great because it's indoors. You got air conditioning. Carolina Theater is going to host a screening of the Disney classic, The Princess and the Frog. Of course, this movie is part of the free Retro Family Day. Screening starts at 11:30. Now, it's free, but you do have to go 30 minutes prior to the screening and get a voucher to get in.
But like you said, inside, air conditioning, you can't beat it. And families looking for more free or reduced priced movies can get a full list by going to WRAL.com and searching keyword family. Thanks, Kathy.
Discriminating against hairstyles will not be allowed in Wake County schools. The school board has changed its dress code policy for students and staff. So this change means students won't be punished for wearing their hair in braids, twists, or other natural or cultural styles. It's something black students and families have been asking for a while. New Title IX regulations have been adopted into Wake County school policies on sex-based discrimination. The school board approved several language changes last night. They include clarifying Title IX complaints don't have to be written down. You can read more about the debate over the changing Title IX landscape at the education section of WRAL.com.
New this morning, autopsies on 6 people found dead in a luxury hotel room in Thailand confirmed they had traces of cyanide in their blood. Pictures released by the Royal Thai Police show the food and drink officers found inside that hotel room. Police say they found traces of cyanide in coffee shared by the 6 people found dead in that room. Authorities say the victims are 4 Vietnamese nationals and 2 Vietnamese Americans. They are 3 men and 3 women between the ages of 37 and 56. The police chief says their deaths appear to be personal, possibly tied to money, and there is no ongoing threat to tourists.
Shocking. President Joe Biden is reportedly considering a push for major reforms to the Supreme Court. Now, these changes would include term limits and an ethics code for the justices. Biden also reportedly is considering pushing for a constitutional amendment limiting a president's immunity. That would effectively reverse the court's recent ruling on immunity. Passing the amendment would be extremely difficult as it would require congressional approval and ratification by 38 states.
Milwaukee police say they're reviewing their RNC protocols after officers from out of town shot and killed a man near the convention's secure zone. Authorities say officers from Columbus, Ohio, who were assigned to patrol near the security perimeter, saw 2 men fighting. Police say 1 man charged at the other with a knife, and the officer shot and killed him. No one else was hurt. And right before this, police arrested a man near the RNC security zone who they say was concealing a gun in a tactical backpack. The Milwaukee Police Department says the 21-year-old man did not have a permit to carry a concealed weapon, and the man's identity has not been released. And Senator Bob Menendez is facing decades in prison after being found guilty on all counts in his federal corruption trial. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer called on his Democratic colleague to resign after the jury handed down the verdict yesterday. The New Jersey senator was convicted of 16 counts, including bribery, extortion, and wire fraud. Prosecutors say that he received gold bars, hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash, a Mercedes-Benz convertible, and other bribes in exchange for his influence. His sentencing date is set for October 29th.
Showed you this yesterday, and now the singer who performed what some people are calling the worst rendition of the national anthem ever says she's going to rehab.
That our flag was still there.
That's country music star Ingrid Andress. Her performance at Major League Baseball Home Run Derby Monday night was widely ridiculed on social media. In a social media post yesterday, Andress says she was drunk. She apologized to Major League Baseball and the fans. She ended the post by saying, quote, "I'll let y'all know how rehab is."
Well, Fox's fall 2024 lineup is out, and it includes 2 new dramas and a new animated comedy. It all starts September 8th with a brand new series, Universal Basic Guys. That show follows brothers who lost their job to robots and use their free time to find a new purpose. And later on that month, we'll get a premiere of a new lifeguard drama, High Surf, new mystery drama, Murder in a Small Town, and the return of 911 Lone Star. All those shows look really great. All right, before we head to break, here are your winning lottery numbers. We'll get another check on weather and traffic next.